Hello everyone, and welcome to another PixelGameMaker tutorial. Today's video we're going to go over the show message plugin. Now this was an official plugin that was made by the developers of PixelGameMaker, and so in this video we'll go over how to install the plugin, how to use it, and then we'll go over some extras like for instance how to set up a multiple chain dialogue for a NPC. So with that said, let's get started. Alright, so this is the scene that we will be using. Got a little grass pad here with a couple characters that will be talking to each other. You can see that I have set the field of vision for the range that we will be able to talk to this NPC in. All right, so let's get into it. The first thing we need to do is we need to install the plugin. So we need to go to the plugins tab. We'll right click here. We'll click add official plugin because this is one of the officials. And we'll click on show message. We'll hit OK, and then we will be brought up with the parameters. These are the things that you must set. You'll notice that it comes default with a message BGM, and you can see that it also imported in this export folder. This is where the BGM is. So for instance, if you go to your resource tab, if you didn't have this file already, if we drop down these folders here, if we didn't have this file, it will automatically import it. So that's one nice thing. You'll always have an automatic message background that comes with the plugin. Now we'll go in how to edit this in here in a sec, but let's go back to the plugin. And so our only parameter is set, so we really don't have to worry about it. This section over here, as I've stated in other videos, is your preview. So we don't have to worry about any settings here. This is just showing you what it's going to look like. And then we have the help file. And all it says is this plugin displays a message. So not very helpful, but that's what this video is going to be for. Okay, so let's go to the objects here. And we're going to go into the talk state. That's where the message will be shown. And we're going to hit the plus. And we're going to go to our plugins tab, and that's where show message will be. And now over here on the right, we get all the options associated with show message. So the first option is we can actually add a face image to the message. And so if you imported a face, this is where you'd find it. I'll go into this option here in a minute. The second option is to select the text, and PixelGameMaker puts all its text into a resource so that it's for easy translation and localization. And so I just have a simple one, text 001, and I just said, hello PixelGameMaker. And you'll see that the font adjusted accordingly. It's going to adjust to whatever it was in the text setting. But the cool thing is you can actually come in here and override that default font. All right, and if you were doing this on the fly, you can also create a new text. However, you can't name it on the fly. So you'll just have to remember once you set it up, go and name it so that you can better keep track of it. And so now with all these default settings and our text selected, let's go see what that looks like. Now when we play test here, I have it set up to where I have to be in the field of vision of this NPC, and then I have to press A. And so when I press A, boom, the message shows, hello PixelGameMaker. All right, now nothing happens because I actually haven't set the link to leave. And the reason why I didn't add a link out is because it's actually part of the plugin to know when you're done talking. So in the talk state, I'm going to right click and add a link and place it back to waiting to be talked to. And then on the other condition settings, I'm going to click the add, and then we're going to click on the plugins tab. And here we have a condition called message has ended. And it just simply says it judges whether the message displayed has ended. And we're going to hit OK. Now, the cool thing is that this is all that we need to do for this. We don't have to say when A is pressed again or when OK is pressed, but it is important to know exactly what input it's looking for. And so if we go to the settings and we go to control key management, we can see the key that it's looking for is OK. It wants to know when OK is pressed. All right, and so by default, that is the A key on a Xbox controller, PlayStation, the X. And then for the keyboard, I actually added space. I don't think it's anything by default. But say this isn't exactly what you want, or say that you want more options than one. First, let's say this isn't what you want. So let's say you didn't want space, you wanted enter. Okay, so you would double click into this, and you can say a keyboard, mouse. If you click on this, now you can select the right key. So I'll hit enter, and now return is going to be the new one, and then you would hit OK. You could also select from template of the keyboard. I'm just going to leave it at space. Now, say you wanted space and enter to be the OK button. All right. What we would have to do is we'd have to actually add a new key, and we would have to select the proper key name for this, which is OK. And so now we have two OK. And these will do the same thing because this OK is the trigger, let's just say. So it's looking for the OK. So if you have two OKs, that means that both of these would trigger in the same way. And then I would come over here to the keyboard mouse and I would say, I want, oh, we can't do it like that. So keyboard mouse, click on it and I'll hit enter and then I'll hit OK. And so now space and return will be what shows that message is done. All right. And I'll just hit OK on that. And now we'll test it, see if this is all right. I'll go up and talk, hello PixelGameMaker, and I will hit A, and the message closes. I'll hit A again, and then it closes. And now let me try with space. So space works. And now let me try space and then hitting return, and it closed. So that's how you can get multiple inputs there. All right, and I just did want to briefly touch base on here that to get to the talk state, you do have to do the A is press, okay? It's just leaving. You don't have to know when you leave. All right, so with that said, let's see some more of these options. And the first one is let's just change the font, show you that it can be overridden. All right, so the font is a lot bigger. And I'm just going to change it back. And the other one is we can adjust the speed. So here we can have an instant text, fast, slow, or normal. So I'm just going to do instance. And the other cool thing is we can actually just click preview right here. Now it might have some duplicate objects. You can see that because it just throws in an object into the scene. All right, but it loaded it up instantly so that we could test how it would look. So if I was to close this again because I was talking during that and I hit preview, you'll see that it'll instantly pop up. There you go. It didn't like type it out slowly like it was. And we could say, let's go slow. Hit preview. And it goes like that. Now, the cool thing is we can actually, I'll leave it on slow and I'll hit preview again. And this time I'll hit OK. And you'll see that it instantly loads it if you press OK, which is nice. All right, and then let's just see fast. And there you go. So you got a few options for your speed. I'm just going to leave it back at normal, how it was. And now we can also change the background here. We can have the white frame, the black frame, or none. So it's been white frame. Let's try black frame and see what that looks like. And you can see that it kind of gave that dim. So in RPGMaker it had that, I think it was called dim, I can't remember. But yeah, so it will do this to the text. And then lastly, you could have one, oops, that said none, and you'll get nothing but the text. So very similar to RPGMaker. I'm going to leave it on the white frame. So the white frame really is the background, if you think about it. Black is dim, none is none. And now we can position it now. We can go the bottom, is what we've been on. So now we can do the center, see what that looks like. Right there on the center. And then we can go to the top, and I'm sure we can all guess what that will do. All right, cool. Now, one thing I do want to point out is, since I've been previewing, I've told you that there's duplicate objects, but just so you know, this object that it throws in there to show it real quick, it goes on layer 1. So if you're on like a side view or something and you're trying to preview these things and it falls right through the map or something, it's because it's on layer 1. So if you have no restrictions or anything on layer 1, one easy way to get around that, I'll just show you real quick. I'll put this on the bottom though. Hit OK. So yeah, one easy way around that is say your player layer is right here. You can just move your player layer over to the left right there, just for testing purposes. Preview, let it throw in that object, do its thing, and then you can put it right back to the correct layer. All right, so now I want to go into how you can actually edit the background to customize it for your project. And for that, we'll go into the resource tab. And we're on the text tab. So real quick, this is where you would actually rename your text also. So that text 001, you can just rename it to hello. And then that would give you a signal of what that text is about. And then here is where you would do all your localization. So here's the main language that you'd want. And then this is where you would translate it and put them into the different tabs. All right, so now to edit the background image. So this is the background image. And you'll see that this top one, it looks like what the message background was in the game. And this middle one looks like it was what that black or dim background was. And that's exactly what it was. So in order to edit this, you would take this image out, you would edit it according to your needs, and then you would place it back in. So let's do that real quick. So the first thing that we need to do is get this image out into an editor. So you'll go to File, Open Project Folder, and here we'll go to Image, and we'll find the background. So here it is, and I will just open that in GIMP here real quick. All right, so here's our folder here, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to recolor things. So I'm going to make this background here red, and then I'm going to make the dim kind of have like a green to it, and that's all I'll do for just this example here, just to show you that that's what it's targeting. And I'm going to export this. Now you have to export this. You can't save it to the file that you got the image from. New background. I'm going to export that. And now in our resource tab here, I'll add an image. I'll add the new BG. And you'll notice that it didn't have to do anything with the partitions, so I'll just leave that alone. But I'll go into our plugins here, and instead of the message background, I'll choose the new background. And then in our object here, I'll just do the frame. And now this should be the red frame. And there we go. And now we will do the black, which is the dim, or in our case, a really solid green. And there you go. All right, so that's how you would customize, and you got two different options for each background that you want. All right, so now let's go over the first option here, which is to add a face to your image. So I don't have a face of this particular NPC. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go and use a weapon that they had on here. And I'll just choose this sword. And then I'm going to hit OK. And you'll see that it will just automatically work just right out of the box. I'll go and hit OK. And there is our sword, right? Showing right up next to our text. Now, the one thing to consider here is the size doesn't matter. And what I mean by that is, let's just say that I selected a character sheet. Okay, so in this sample project, there is a ton of characters to choose from, both from the Fez and the MV character sets. So let's choose just one of these from the Fez, and you'll see that it auto-sized it to fit the box completely for us. So if I hit OK and we go to playtest here, and I go up here, it's going to auto size it and make it fit. Now, the important thing about this is that you'll just have to find a size for your project. For instance, you can see that it's a little distorted here because it had to scale it down basically to fit in there. So you just want to make sure that you find the fit for your project. And once again, you can just then again turn it off, and we get the same text that we've been seeing here for a while now. All right. So there's one more important thing to go over with show message, and that is how the text actually handles. For instance, say that we had a huge multiple paragraph thing. And how will that handle? Do I need to make another show message? Do I have to gauge this all the time? And the answer is actually no. The show message plugin will handle everything for you as far as length goes. So for instance, I could copy this and I could just hit enter, and I'll skip some lines, but I'll just show this. I'll just go crazy here. All right, so we have multiple lines of this Pixel Game Maker. And if we were to just hit preview now, it's going to show what it can, and then it's going to show the little arrow, and it's going to show more, and then it has the little arrow also. And by the way, I don't know if I pointed this out, but you can actually change this arrow based off of this. And while I'm here, I'll just point out that these top two images are in 24 by 24 cells, and this arrow is in a 24 by 16 cell. All right. So now if we go back to the game here, and we start hitting A again, you'll just see that it will continue the text for as long as the text was there. And that's really nice. So the only thing that we actually have to worry about is we have to worry just about the length that we're making them as far as horizontal goes. So if I add another Pixel Game Maker, and let's just say another one, let's see how that would look. All right, so you'll see that we were able to fit those three horizontal Hello Pixel Game Makers in there with no issue. Now, let's say we added one more, and when we hit preview, we'll see that it actually cuts off that last one. So the only thing that we have to worry about with this plugin is the horizontal layout of our text, all right, which I think was the case with RPGMaker as well. So nothing that we're not used to. The only thing that we need to know is just how much text we can fit in our resolution, and just somehow remember that. Because I think RPGMaker gave you a line when, at least MV, gave you a line when you were going to go out. So that's just the one thing that we'll have to pay attention to. But once you know, you can just simply go like this, and you know that nothing can ever be past this line. And so as you scroll down, you can just make sure that nothing's past that line, and that could be an easy little workaround there. All right, so this is the main parts of this show message plugin. We covered how to install it, how to use it, how to leave a message, how to edit the background to further customize it, and then we went in a little more detail of how the text works and how you can fit multiple dialogue, and the plugin will do everything automatically. All right, so now with that, let's go to an example of having multiple dialogue with this NPC. So if all you came for was just the show message plugin, that's it for this. Now we'll just go into a multiple dialogue. I'll have it to where this NPC can say 3 different things, and we'll go from there. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to rename this to Talk 1. I'm going to duplicate this, copy paste. Rename this one Talk 2. Rename this one Talk 3. All right, so the next thing we need to do is we need to create new text resources. Now I can click new on the fly. I like to just do them in the resource tab themselves. That way I can just rename them right away. So for instance, in this case, I would say it's from the NPC. It's going to be dialogue number 2. And then I'm just going to give like a short little what they start with saying. So it would be, you now know. And then I'll come up here and I'll actually rename this one to NPC dialogue 1 hello. And that way I know that this one says hello Pixel Game Maker, and this one we now need to say you now know, which I need to make sure I select the right tab, and I'm going to say you now know how to use show message plugin. Something like that. If I can type, wow. Exclamation. And I'll just set the font. I'll set it to something different. That way we can just showcase all this stuff. Now you'd want to make sure you notice that when I click on, I believe, I'm not sure, but when you click on this one, it's blank. So when you would translate it, you would copy and you would put the correct version in here. And now what happens is when your computer runs, it knows what language the computer's running, and it will show based off that. All right. So if you have nothing in this section and it's run on a language with this, then it's going to show nothing. But on the English one, it would show this. All right. So it is important, even if you're not translating and you've selected multiple languages for some reason, always put something in them, or else one language is going to show nothing. All right. And so now I just need one more. And I'll have a video about localization here soon. That's going to be pretty important. I'll just say, enjoy summer. There we go. And just simply, I'll say, that's it. Enjoy the rest of your summer. There we go. And once again, I'll copy paste this. Normally you'll only have an English tab if you've created it in the English language one. And then I'll just go like this, select the font, and now I have my text resources. Okay, so now let's go back to our object here. And we need a variable to manage which text she is on. So we're just going to go up to here, and we're just going to create a new variable, drag it up here. I'm just going to call this the talking variable. Start it at 0. You could also start it at 1 if you wanted, to, I don't know, visually make it more sense. Talk1 is associated with variable 1, stuff like that. I just leave it at 0. That way I can just get used to it, stuff like that. All right, so now what we need to do is we already have if all conditions are met when A is pressed and when discovering in the field of vision. But now we need to add another check, and that is going to be if this object self's talking variable is equal to 0. All right, so if it's equal to 0, it can now show text1. We'll hit OK. Now, the other thing that we need to do is that when you're done talking talk1, you need to up it. You need to add to that variable so that it will go to the next talk. All right, I'm going to bring this over here. And so we need to add a variable change here, right here. And so we're going to say object self, talking variable. We're going to add 1. Hit OK. And we're going to move this up before show message. All right, the leave is fine. The leave we can just leave. And now we'll take this check right here. We're going to copy. We're going to paste. We're going to double click into this switch, and we're going to say when this one's equal to 1. So when it's equal to 1, it's then going to go to talk 2, which we did not set, by the way. So you now know. There we go. And I'll give this one dim, and I'll show it in the center there. Now, the cool thing is our exit, we can just have the same. You can shift click to drag these to auto straighten them. But we need to add that variable change. So I'm going to come here to talk1. I'm going to grab this, copy. I'm going to paste it, move it above show message, and we don't have to change anything because all we're doing is we're adding 1. Now I'm going to come grab this link, copy and paste it, shift click to straighten it there, and then inside this variable change we're going to check if it's equal to 2. Hit OK. And then we'll grab the exit out, and we'll bring that back to the waiting to be talked to. I think I do need to make sure, yeah, I need to change this to enjoy summer. And we'll just make this one go very slow. And we'll put this one on the top. All right, so we'll hit OK. Now, talk 3, I'm just assuming that this is going to be the last dialogue that they'll constantly say, so the player knows that they're not saying anything more. And so we don't have to change the variable in here because we just want her to keep saying this. So now if we go to playtest, this should all be set up correctly. And we'll talk to her. Hello, PixelGameMaker. Talk to her again. You now know how to use the show message plugin, and then we'll talk to her again. That's it. Enjoy the rest of your summer. Right, so that is it for this video. I hope that there was something for everyone here, and with that, I'll see you at the next video.